Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm so happy that you're here. This podcast is a place for conversations about balancing a healthy lifestyle and being happy, more specifically, happy hour. Together, we'll explore all things wellness and wine. I hope you learn a little, laugh a lot, and along the way, know you're not alone on this balanced wellness journey. Ready to jump in? Pour something in your glass that makes you happy because it's time for Spandex and Wine. Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney. Thanks so much for being here. If you've been listening for a while, or you received my newsletter, or you're in my private Facebook group, and by the way, I'm going to put all of those links in the show notes, you've probably heard me talk about my summer tour. It kicked off on May 19th at Somerset Ridge Vineyard and Winery. Cindy and Dennis Reynolds, the owners, were kind enough to host us and help share the word. And I talked to so many wonderful people while I was there and captured a few conversations and stories about the winery and just about wine in general. Today's episode will kick off with Cindy. Then you'll hear from various guests that share their stories. There will be a bit of a background noise since we were at the winery sharing wine and listening to amazing music. So pour something in your glass that makes you happy and let's get started. Well, hello and welcome back to the Spandex and Wine podcast, Cindy.
I'm glad to be here. Two topics near and dear to me.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And we have such a gorgeous day. Thank you so much for allowing us to come out and be a part of the winery this weekend.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. You guys are VIPs at Somerset Ridge, that's for sure.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. You and Dennis do such a great job of making everyone feel welcome and comfortable and serving wonderful wine and music. I know in our first episode that we had together, we went into the story of the winery and a few of the other details. So I'm going to put that link in the show notes. This time, I want to talk about all the fun events that you have going this summer. And I definitely want to talk about your wine club because I saw pictures of your trip and it looked amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, anybody who's anywhere in the Midwest knows that, we've had some really outstanding weather. We had spring early and we never looked back. Usually when you're in kind of the Kansas City area, you might have early spring, but no doubt about it, in May, somehow we get body slammed and get a late frost or maybe even some crazy hail. Well, we haven't had that. And so the vines, our flowers, the herb gardens, the tomatoes, everything. We're about 3 weeks ahead of typical season. So it's really a beautiful time, whether you come to Somerset Ridge or another local winery. It's a great time to get out and about and support your local winemaker because all the grounds are looking beautiful. And there really isn't anything more fun than getting a glass of wine or a non-alcoholic beverage and taking a wander through a vineyard.
Absolutely. Your place is so gorgeous. The setting is wonderful. And everyone that you have working there is so fun too.
Well, thank you. We love to, during the week, when it's quiet, we love to take all that time with guests and do wine tastings. And if you've made a reservation, we always offer the opportunity to either do a tasting or a glass of your favorite wine. On weekends, when it's a lot busier, mostly we offer up a glass of wine. So I always like to tell people, the tasting room is open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, or by appointment. And, the busier days are Saturday and Sunday, but that's also when it's so fun. We always have live music every Saturday and Sunday afternoon, food trucks. This weekend, we definitely have a food truck both days. And, that's a blast. It's fun to support local food and wine. It's a perfect combo.
Yes, it's wonderful that you give back to the community in that way too, that you have those food trucks and everything come out and the musicians. Let's talk about your wine club and your trips. I didn't realize there were trips that went with it too.
Sure. So, we're very lucky. We have almost 400 families that are members of our wine club now, and that is very important to us. My God, we love them. We owe so much to them. And what Wine Club is about is quarterly. They receive a 6 bottle release of some special things, and we can either ship it or you could pick up directly at the winery. And if you come to pick up, we put the release out on the counter, we talk through it, we taste through it, and then basically we adjust it to get it just right, specific for each wine club member. But we offered something special. We've done this now a few times. We just got back from an 8-day trip to Bordeaux with about 18 members of our wine club, and it was a food and wine and travel extravaganza. It was really very delicious, very posh. It was really an
Nice.
outstanding thing. Bordeaux is just such a wonderful place because not only are you in the heart of wine country, but the city of Bordeaux is like a miniature Paris. So you get the best of both worlds. You get a little bit of the city and all the history and the beautiful architecture, but you're 10 minutes from wine country. And so you get all those nice fancy city Bordeaux restaurants, but in 10 minutes we're at the most famous and the most amazing wineries in the world.
Oh, that is so cool. So I want to know too, like, how is the best way to get that information? I mean, it might be on your website, but do you guys have a newsletter where you go a little bit deeper into the things coming up?
We do. Right on our website, somersetridge.com. That's where you can order wine to be shipped. That's where you can get a gift card, electronic. Let's say you're under pressure for somebody's college graduation or a teacher gift or something. It's just perfect because you can just click and you can do an electronic gift card that gets sent directly to the recipient's email. So you don't have to shop. It'll look cool. They can have an experience. You could go on and you could read about what we have coming up on the calendar, special events. And if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll see a little box, click newsletter, sign up. We're not that organized to spam anybody, but about maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, we'll send out one email and we'll give you an update about what's coming up. And that's how we offered up the Bordeaux trip to our wine club members first,
Mhm.
and that's really how we get these trips started.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. And I so appreciate you having the podcast out and fun conversations with so many of your customers and my clients, and just a wonderful day. And I can't wait for everyone to hear all the stories. And those are coming up.
Oh, that's great. Well, another thing, I don't know if it came up in the conversations with guests, but, we have quite the love connection at Somerset Ridge. We have numerous engagements, weddings. We have families that have babies and they met at the winery. I mean, we have a lot of fun stories like that at Somerset Ridge.
Yes, yes, and one of them happens to be with my son. So both of my sons actually, and that
Yeah,
is shared. Someone does share that story. So yeah, it's
good,
coming
good. I'm
up.
so
Yeah.
glad. So glad.
Well, thanks
Well,
again for having us.
love it, love it. And I hope to see everybody out and about. It's a great summer to get out and support your favorite local winemaker. And we'd love everybody's always invited. We'd love to have you out. Lewisburg is so close to the Kansas City metro, and we ship now to like 45 states or something. So it's all good.
That's great. Cindy, thank you so much. And I know that you're going to enjoy this episode as well.
Ah, thank you. I can't wait.
You heard Cindy mention they have live music, and it's always spectacular. Another reason why making a reservation is recommended, so that you can be under an umbrella on the patio close to the music. I had the chance to sit down with the musician that was there that day of our stop, Isaac Kenneth, on his break. He is extremely talented and so pleasant to speak with. You'll hear a bit now from him. but I'm going to be doing a longer episode with him soon. Here is Isaac. Hey, Isaac, thanks for being here today. I know that you have played here often at Somerset. You're a musician, and I just want to kind of get your experience of being here, where else you play, what your genre is. So if you wouldn't mind sharing just a little bit more.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I always look forward to coming to Somerset Winery. They have a great selection of wines and a great setting for the music with the gazebo and the layout. It's beautiful. So I try to get up here at least every month or so if I can when the weather's nice. And I've been coming here for, I think it's been since 2018, 2019, before COVID. So Cindy and all them, we go way back, and it's always so much fun. It's a good atmosphere, and the crowd, the audience is always very fun. So I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I heard a little bit of your music, and it sounded wonderful. I need to get out there and hear your second half. So where else do you play, and is this your full-time job?
So yes, I play all over the area. I'm actually based in Ozark, Missouri, so it's a couple hours away from here in Kansas City. But yeah, I play all over Kansas City and Oklahoma. I was in Tulsa recently, so just kind of regionally I play, and you can find all that on my Facebook page, my tour dates and stuff. But yeah, that's where I perform. And I forgot what was the second question?
No, that's okay. Okay, so what is your favorite type of music that you play?
Good question. Yes, so primarily country. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I really enjoy country music, and so that's what I sing. But then I also grew up on Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, a lot of the real classics, So some of that gets mixed in, and then, I had some, even today, requests for some folk, some rock. So, it's bluegrass. I grew up on bluegrass and gospel. So it's a little bit of everything, but kind of an emphasis in country music. So for anybody, if you were watching, you'd see I wear a cowboy hat and boots, and the whole cowboy getup. I played some cowboy music too, so a little bit of everything, something for everybody. Yeah,
I love it. So you mentioned a couple different genres when you were growing up. So are your parents then? Is that what your influence comes from them?
So good question. Yeah, my dad sang in choir when he was growing up, and he would lead worship in church, and then my mom played piano. But besides that, they weren't professional musicians or anything. They just appreciated music and gave us kids the outlet to pursue it if we wanted to. And I was the one that kind of took it the farthest and did it professionally. I've been performing professionally now for about 10 years, and it's been full-time for 5 of those years. So living the dream.
That is so cool. And then do you just do events like this, or do you do private parties as well? Could people book you?
Yes, I play private parties as well. Actually, after this, I'll be heading back to play a house party tonight. So I do everything: festivals, weddings, bars, churches, just anything you can think of. I do a lot of singing telegrams, which are fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're always a good time as well. So you can, with all of my profiles online on Facebook and elsewhere, you can contact me, and I play all manner of shows.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. And thanks for being here. But I want you to share with the listeners where they can find you exactly. What's your handle?
Absolutely. So just look up Isaac Kenneth Music on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok. And then you can listen to my music. I have a couple albums I've released of original music that I've written, and all that stuff is on Spotify and Apple Music. Anywhere that you stream music online, you just look up Isaac Kenneth Music, and then there I'll be.
Oh, that's cool. I'll put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here.
Perfect. My pleasure. Thanks so much.
He is such a nice guy and a gentleman. Like I said, watch for him to have his own full episode soon. All right, so there are many, many regulars at Somerset Winery. And if you haven't gone, number 1, get it on your calendar and go. And 2, you'll see why customers keep returning. The wine is fabulous, but the environment they have created is exceptional. I met a few of their regulars, and next you'll hear from one of them. Here is Shar. Hey, Shar, thanks for coming out to the winery today and being on the podcast. I'm thankful that you are here, and I'm excited to hear your wine story.
Well, I first came out here with one of my girlfriends, and I met Cindy, and just enjoyed. It was a great, great experience. And then we got to talking, and I do jewelry. I'm a silversmith, or a metalsmith. And so then she was having a jewelry weekend where we set up booths and that, and it turned out to start out rainy, but it was really a nice weekend. So I did that, and that was fun. But I've just always enjoyed coming out here, and the people are so wonderful, and I know so many people in the music and just like that. So I've come for several years, and I don't know when I started or joined or anything, but it's just always been one of those things. And so it's just been through, you know, I've worked here on weekends when I did the jewelry shows, and then just pop-up ones, and when they had the place in Martin City area, and there was a pop-up one night, I did that and everything. But it's just such a place to escape, relax, come and listen, even if you come by yourself and just have a glass of wine and just kind of decompose from the week. It's just a nice, great place to come.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think that Cindy and Dennis have done a fabulous job. Yeah, and my youngest son actually worked here for several years off and on, and so we've always enjoyed coming out. I want to hear more about your jewelry. So are you still selling, making?
I am. I'm still selling. I'm still making. I'm Char's Silver Jewelry, and I have stuff at the Phoenix Gallery in Lawrence, over there. And then I've done juried shows throughout the Kansas City area, and then into Minnesota and down into Arizona and Tucson and Scottsdale and stuff like that. And so I've got my stuff in some different areas. I've had it in New York. I don't have anything in New York since COVID, but you know, so yeah, I have my studio in my home, and I work on jewelry all the time.
That is so cool. I love your earrings. Yeah. And I will put everything in the show notes, so then the listeners, if they want to go check out your jewelry, they can do that.
They can. They can look up Char's, and it's CHARZ Silver Jewelry at gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I wish I would have taken video so you could have seen her earrings, and really just her in general. Very beautiful. There was another couple there that are wine club members and regulars that I had the pleasure of speaking with, but unfortunately the audio didn't turn out well. James and Kay, if you are listening, I am so sorry, but maybe I'll see you out there again and we can re-record. Next up is Joe. Joe is the husband of one of my clients, Lisa, and in fact, I used to train her dad also. A wonderful family. Lisa and Joe have traveled the world and still are. I'm so jealous. I was anxious to hear his story. Here is Joe. Yes. Hey, Joe. Thanks for coming out to the winery today. I'm so happy that you're here. No, you can't go by your wife's name. So I know you have all kinds of cool wine stories, and you're excited to share one of them in particular. So go right ahead.
Okay, we went on a wine tour in Melbourne, Australia.
Wow.
And it's Melbourne, not Melbourne. They don't pronounce their R's for some reason.
Okay.
They put the R's in the word, but they don't use them. So we were in Melbourne, Australia, went on wine tour, and we started at 10 in the morning, which is a little bit early for wine.
Sure.
And we went on 5 tastings.
Oh my gosh.
And each place we went to had 5 samples.
Oh my gosh.
So we call it the 5 before 5 p.m. tour. And so the first tour we went on, it was just good wine. The second, and then the second place we went to, we were on a tour bus, and like 8 people, and they backed us out of the driveway, and they backed into the next driveway, next door. We could have walked there, but we went to the next one, and the next one had some fine homemade cheeses with it, and that was interesting with the wine, paired with the wine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third one we went to had a full dinner, a full lunch, because it was 12 already, and we already had 10 wines.
And important to eat.
10 wines. We had a big lunch. We had fish. We had great place. We had wines. We had 5 more wines. We had a bunch of food. It was great. And then and then the fifth one, and the reason I skipped one for a reason. The fifth one we went to was probably the most interesting wine tour we went to. They had 5 different cheeses that are matched with 5 different wines. So each one of the wines we tasted the wine before the cheese.
Okay,
and then we had the cheese and tasted the wine after the cheese. Mm-hmm. And all the wines tasted completely differently.
Yeah.
After we had with the matched cheese. It was really interesting.
Yeah, food does make a difference.
It was really a lot of fun. And so really after that, we were pretty talkative on the way home. Okay. But the fourth wine place we went to, nobody on tour remembered.
Oh my gosh, that's
None
hilarious.
of the 8 people remember anything about the fourth wine place we went to. We don't know where it was, what it looked like. We know we had 5 wines, because all of them had 5 wines, but nobody on the tour remembered anything about it. We had a picture of the sign. Nobody remembered that sign. Nothing.
That is hilarious.
Complete blank. We all had a lunch, so we all had money, we all had food and stuff, but nobody remembered the fourth wine tour. So that was our 5 before 5 tour.
Oh my
25
gosh.
flights before 5 o'clock.
Okay, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing. How hilarious was that? Can you picture the group of them in the bus ride back to the hotel, racking their brains to remember the fourth stop? Oh my gosh, what a hoot. The next guest has a story near and dear to my heart about Somerset Winery and matchmaking, like you heard Cindy mention. My youngest son worked there for quite a while, as well as his girlfriend at the time, Sydney, and their mutual friend, Jane. Here is Deanna to share all the details. Hey, Deanna, thanks for coming out to the winery today. It's always great to see you. And you and I have a special story about the winery, and I'm going to let you tell the story.
Okay, so my daughter Sydney was working out at the winery with Robin's son Jake, and they were dating at the time. And Sydney and Jake had this great idea to fix up Jake's brother Derek with one of Sydney's friends, Jane. So they made it a point to get them together and introduce them. And
it was game night at the Hackney household.
Oh,
that's what it was. Yes, it was
yes.
game night, and she was going to make it an even number. Is what they said. That was their story.
Well, they're always that. It was a ploy, but yeah. And so they had game night, and then they just hit it off from there. Like Jane and Derek just became Jane and Derek, and now they have their little family, and it's the cutest thing ever.
Yes, I remember that night after game night, and she was getting ready to leave, and I turned to Dave and I said, "Oh my gosh, I hope we get to keep her because she is fabulous." Which just sounds like very possessive, but those were my exact words.
Absolutely, because she's so wonderful. She's such a sweet, sweet person, and her and Derek are the cutest ever. I just think they're just adorable. So I'm so glad that my daughter had a hand in that, and she's very proud of that as well.
Well, I am grateful. I'm
Yes.
grateful for her, for Jake, and now we're expecting grandson number 2. So obviously it was a good matchmaking.
Absolutely, I'm just so glad that was her great matchmaking story.
Yes, wonderful. And then I'm going to ask you too, what Somerset wine do you enjoy?
I like the blush.
Nice.
Well,
Okay.
actually, the slush is my favorite.
Oh,
the
yeah,
slush
yeah.
is by far my favorite.
Okay.
Every time they have slush, it's so good.
Well, and today's the perfect day for that because it's a little hotter than Hades.
It's a little hotter than it should be in May, but yeah, I had the slush. It was delicious. Cooled me right off.
And then you have a wedding coming up, so congratulations on that.
Dude, thank you. My youngest is getting married in 6 weeks, so we're in countdown mode.
Countdown, stress, whatever.
Yep, whatever. It's all of it.
It's all of it. All right. Well, I'm sure it'll go great, so congratulations.
Thank you so much, Robin. Love being out here. Love everything you're doing, everything you do for everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate your support. Deanna is such a sweet lady, and I'm grateful for her daughter and my son Jake introducing Jane to my oldest son Derek. I mentioned they had one son and another one on the way. Well, baby boy number 2 came early, just days after our visit to Somerset. Jane has been a blessing in our family, just in herself, and now giving us 2 grandsons. It's the best. I love her and happy we got to keep her, as awful as that sounds. Speaking of blessings, I've been very blessed to have the most wonderful clients over the years. Mark and his wife, Melanie, have supported me in all of my endeavors, and I'm truly grateful. In fact, we used to joke that I would sometimes see Mark more than I would Dave, my husband, because he trained multiple times a week and came to all my classes. I'm happy he decided to share a story. Here is Mark. Hey, Mark, thanks for coming out to the winery today. I'm excited to see you. What I should probably tell the listeners is that you were one of my very first personal training clients, and I'm just so lucky to have you and your wife in my life, and just want to say thank you for that. But I know you wanted to share a wine story, so I will let you share your story.
All right. Well, thank you. It's been a great relationship.
Absolutely.
And not only workout wise, but personally, and a lot of growth there, and our kids and all that. So the wine story is Melanie and I went to Napa for our 15-year wedding anniversary. So I don't know what year that is. So we were married in '86. So that would be 2001.
Around there, yeah.
Somewhere around there. Okay. So we were there for the week. We went to we stayed in Calistoga, which is the northern part of the area, and stayed at a place, I think it was called the Silver Rose, and it was a great spa, and had some vineyards outside of our room, and so very scenic, and we had a great time all week. We tended to hang out on the Silverado Trail, which is the sort of the other, I wouldn't say other, but there was like at that time, there was two main roads around that area. So we hung out and had rented a convertible Mustang.
Oh, how fun.
So we toured wineries and toured tastings and really enjoyed it all. But we we enjoyed Mum, which is a sparkling wine, I guess vineyard.
Yeah, nice.
So this hat.
Oh, cool.
This hat was from there.
Nice.
And we really loved it. It was very scenic, and so we joined their wine club. And so for a long time, we had 2 bottles of champagne delivered
nice.
every month. Mm-hmm. And then something happened legally, and they couldn't ship into Kansas anymore, and it fell apart. We didn't really try to figure it out or renew it. So, but the end result was we had champagne religiously on Sunday morning since then.
Oh, I love that.
And it's always the toast is always Happy Sunday.
Yes, that is great. And you guys are great also about balancing your workouts and your indulgences. So you guys do a great job with that.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing.
You got to have work-life balance, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
Bubbles every Sunday is a tradition that I could really get into. In fact, I've experienced the champagne tradition at Mark and Melanie's home several times. They go all out with their brunches, delicious food, and truly a bottomless mimosa, which ends up just being bubbles by the end. Who wants all the sugar from the OJ anyway? They have a friend, Debbie, that is also a long-standing client and friend of mine. She's traveled extensively with lots of stories. She never slows down and is always doing something super fun. Here is Debbie. Hey, Debbie, thanks for coming out to the winery today. I happen to know that you have traveled all around the world, so you've had all kinds of wines and experiences, but is there one in particular that stands out?
You know, I actually did go with my mom and my sister down to South Africa, and we went on a safari first and stayed in tents out in the rough, so to speak, and that's when I fell in love with the cheetah. There was lots of cheetahs and babies. And then we went to Cape Town and went on a wine tour. And we went up into the mountains of Cape Town and went to Lamont, where it was a beautiful, beautiful winery. We went down and had lunch. Then we went to a different one where the goats were on the roof.
Oh, my gosh, that's so cool.
And we did a wine tasting and a chocolate tasting. And it was just so cool because I looked out. I was sitting there having a glass of wine, and my sister was sitting out in the yard or whatever. And the mountains are behind her, and she's just sitting there. I've got a picture of her just writing in her journal about what a fun trip it was. It was just a great time with my mom and my sister, so it's great memories from that.
Oh, my gosh, that is amazing. Do you guys have any trips coming up?
No. But when I got back, actually one of the wineries, the owner's daughter was she was trying to get her wine degree, whatever. What do you call that?
She was trying to do Vineyard.
Yeah. So they sent me a survey, and I answered questions for the survey and ended up winning 10 bottles of wine from South Africa.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I know. It was like, woo. Maybe I was only 2 of the people that even responded, but still, it was worth the 5 minutes to answer the survey.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah,
all right. Well,
you.
Enjoy the rest of your visit at the winery.
Okay, thank you.
Debbie is so much fun, and vintner was the word that we were both searching for. Winemaker's easier to say, so we'll just say winemaker. Another dear friend, Mary Martha, has too many stories with me that include wine. Oh boy. Most probably should not be shared. This was a good one, though, that involved Somerset Winery, so here you go. Oh, Mary Martha, I'm so happy that you're here at the winery. We have, oh gosh, I don't even know if we get into the history of our friendship, but been friends for a long time, and I know that you have a particular story that you would like to share, and it was a fun one.
It was. And we have been friends for a long time. It was hard for me to decide which one to share.
Yeah.
But it was, I believe, a summer day, and there were 6 of us that were going to go to different wineries, just kind of puddle jump. And we got to the last one, and it was late in the day, probably close to them needing to close up shop. And we were enjoying our wine, and I needed to use the restroom. And so the owner said, well, just go up to our house up there, and you can use the restroom. It's unlocked. So the 3 of us ladies left the 3 gentlemen, and we headed up the hill to their house, used the restroom, came back down, and we weren't finished with our bottle, and we said, well, we don't want to overstay our welcome. You all need to close up.
Did we really say that? Because I feel like we were just drinking and we were just going to stay and overstay our welcome anyway.
I was trying to make it sound like we were very polite.
Oh, okay.
And that we hadn't had a little bit, quite a bit of wine. Yeah. Yes. So just use your imagination. And the gentleman said, well, you know, we're supposed to be going, my wife and I are supposed to be going to some family celebration. Oh, really? But I don't really want to go. So I will send her on and say that we still have customers. And we said, whatever you want to do. So the lady, his wife, got in the car and headed out, and we all waved as she went by. And then, lo and behold, he got a glass of wine and came down and sat and joined us.
Yes, I think that he figured out that we weren't going anywhere, so he was just going to join us. And I don't think she was happy. I mean, I kind of remember it wasn't a...
No, it wasn't a happy smile, have fun wave. It was a, I'm leaving.
And I don't know if you remember when we were at our first stop, which was here, where we are today at Somerset, and we only went to a couple other stops, but my high school counselor and his wife were here.
Yes.
And then they just jumped right in and joined us on all of the stops.
Yes, because, you know, we're inviting like that.
We are. Yeah.
We are the most fun to have wine with.
Absolutely. And you and I have done some fun Sunday sippers together, and
yes.
we have quite a few wine stories. But thank you for sharing that one. That was a fun day.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers. Wow, she was really being nice with that story, because as I remember it, both the husband and the wife were not happy, and he just gave in to drinking wine with us because we were clearly not leaving. Talk about guests that overstay their welcome. And please note, we did have a designated driver, and we did need one. So many fun stories with Mary Martha. Next up is Emily. And again, I wish I had all this on video, because if you could see Emily's smile, it is the best. She is good people and so much fun. Let's jump into her story.
I'm still just guessing, but yeah.
Hey, Emily, thanks so much for coming out to the winery. I know it's quite a drive for you guys, but I always enjoy seeing your lovely face and your beautiful smile. So thank you. And we were wine guides together with Traveling Vineyard, so we have, all kinds of stories we could share, but there's probably one in particular that you would like to share, just of wine in general.
I just think of wine as a place when friends get together and meet new people, honestly. Visiting out here in the winery, I didn't know anyone coming out, so just being out there, and we've been reminiscing about travel plans and seeing where people have enjoyed going, not going, and thinking back when we went to Temecula for a friend's 40th birthday, and saying how much fun that was, just traveling around, checking out different wineries, and then the in-home parties. I definitely missed that a lot. I don't know if I'll get back into it at any point in time, but definitely enjoyed that as a little short couple years for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I miss it too. I miss all the friendships and like just meeting people, and like you said, and taking the stuffiness out of a wine tasting and being able to educate people. So I miss that piece too. So what do you typically pour in your glass that makes you happy?
Well, in the summertime, I will say we're definitely drawn more to the dry whites. That's always been something we all refer to as that porch pounder. But a little touch on the sweet side in the summertime, as opposed to a nice dry red. I do love Pinot Noir. I always do with steak or more in the wintertime. But yeah, definitely enjoyed. This is kind of a broader range for Kansas for us anyway. A lot of times we end up seeing a lot of sweeter. And not something that we absolutely love, but it's been a really good tasting out here.
Yeah, they've done a great job. Cindy and Dennis have done a wonderful job here. And I'm curious. Hey guys, I need your help. I am in the running for Miss Health and Fitness 2024, and it all goes by votes. So I need you to vote. I'm going to put the link in the show notes, but you can also find it on Instagram. You can find it at spandexandwine.com. You can find it on Facebook on my personal profile or on my Simply Fitness or Spandex and Wine. I'm going to put it everywhere. You can do a free vote daily. Thank you so much. He drinks wine too. Has he always?
I don't know if he always has. We definitely plan our vacations and trips around hitting distilleries, breweries, and wineries. Even just a quick stop for samples and tastings is just kind of a fun way to put a few more miles in maybe, but at the same time try some different things in different areas. So that's something that's big on our list when we travel.
Yeah, us too. We enjoy that as well. And I know Dave started as a sweet drinker, and now he's more, then he was dry white. And then now he's dry red, and he doesn't drink anything but dry red. Well, I take that back. Right now, he's enjoying a white. So I was just curious if your husband was the same way. So.
Yeah, and he's definitely on the dry red for sure. Some of the stuff that he tasted, he loves the oakiness of everything. And so he was coming here specifically with me to get something for his mom. We had her over for, we actually hosted both of our moms at different times on Mother's Day. So that was fun. But he was like, we got to get a wine for Mom. So.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. And he makes cheeses.
Actually, he smokes cheese. He doesn't make all the cheese himself. Okay. But yeah, he does. He's done it for about 7 to 8 years. So yeah, kind of a really interesting hobby, but it's all cold smoked. And it's very busy in more the winter months than the summer months, just because it's really hard to do samples at any kind of event. This last weekend's probably our last one for the summer for samples, but he has a pretty good following, and we have
that's awesome.
Cheese fridges instead of beer fridges in our garage.
That's great. Now, does he ship?
No, he hasn't got into any shipping. He's in 3 different little stores in the Leavenworth County area, so people can pick his products up there. And he has a really good group of people. And with those types of events, you just meet a lot of people too. So it was really great with the traveling vineyard. So we would pair together. That was always kind of my little bonus thing for hosts.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring a couple smoked cheeses to the party, and that was kind of the little bonus instead of another bottle of wine or another something extra. But it was always, very fun, but met a lot of great people. Both items.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I'll make sure that I put his information in the show notes, and then anyone that's in the Leavenworth area that can frequent those stores, they can do that. So, well, thanks for being here, Emily.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us and the invite. A little bit of a drive, and it's been fun. Try out a different vineyard.
Yes, cool. Thanks. Emily is so darn sweet, and the cheese is amazing. Check out the show notes for details on how to get some for your next wine and cheese pairing for those of you that are in Kansas City. I keep saying this, but I am surrounded with the best people. I really, really am. My friend Denise is one of them, and I love that she wanted to share a wine story for this episode. Her continued support has meant the world to me, and I know we have lots more fun memories to create. So here's Denise. Hey, Denise, thanks so much for coming out to the winery today. It's always you and Diane are so supportive, and I really appreciate that. So just thank you for being a great friend, and I know that you had a wine story that you wanted to share, so let's hear it.
So my first introduction to the Somerset Winery was when you had us all out to do yoga. Do you remember that? Yeah, so we were all out in the grass up on the hill. Grass was a little wet.
It was a little wet.
In the morning, but it was a beautiful, beautiful introduction to a beautiful morning up on the hill, looking over the vines and all down into the valley there, and got some relaxation and some stretching. So that was my little wine experience with the winery and you. So
Nice. And then you guys have a winery close to you by your house that you guys frequent because they have a coffee shop as well.
yes, absolutely. We actually have several.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you'll have to do yoga there sometime too. I know one of them you have, I think.
Yes, I have at Aubrey Vineyards.
Yeah.
Yes, and then Serendipity is close to you, and around here we've increased the wineries exponentially. I feel like.
Oh, I know. It's really kind of exciting because my brother, when he was here from Minnesota a couple weeks ago, we drove by the Serendipity. He's like, "Wait a minute, is that a winery in Stillwell?" I go, "Yeah, there's actually more than one." He's like, "Oh, that's so cool." So yeah.
Yeah, and they opened that one just right when Dave and I were moving from Stillwell to Lewisburg. So I'm like, okay, it's probably a good thing because it really was in walking distance or bike riding distance. So it's probably a good thing that I wasn't.
I know. I'm surprised that we haven't frequented it more because it is within a bike ride or a walk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story and thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have missed it, and it's a beautiful day. So I'm glad for you that it stopped raining.
Yes, thank you. Oh gosh, I'd forgotten about all the activities that I've done out at Somerset. Yoga classes, hula hoop classes, happy hours, and so many other events that Cindy and Dennis have put on. I've even taken fly fishing lessons out there and of course listened to lots of wonderful musicians and had delicious food from the food trucks. So many wonderful memories. And I'm happy that this was our first stop on the summer tour. It just made sense and it felt right. It's truly a lovely winery that you need to experience. It's best to make a reservation, as Cindy mentioned, but they will welcome you no matter what. The website, somersetridge.com, is also in the show notes, and be sure to tell them Robin with Spandex and Wine sent you when you stop by. Ask about their wine club, have a tasting, kick back, relax, and create your own stories. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to follow Spandex and Wine so you don't miss an episode. To do this, just go to the podcast and click subscribe or follow wherever you are listening. Look for the plus sign or follow button. This is one of the best things that you can do for the podcast. If you'd also be willing to give a 5-star review, that would be amazing and much appreciated. Lastly, please share an episode with a friend or 5 to keep the love going, and join the Spandex and Wine community in our private Facebook group by searching Spandex and Wine. Feel free to reach out to me at any time by emailing info@spandexandwine.com or text me at 913-392-2877. I appreciate you. Thank you.